Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're uncovering a seriously fascinating truth hidden right inside the mechanics of money. While most people look for a single massive breakthrough, real wealth is actually built through the compounding of tiny, repeatable adjustments. If you've ever felt like you're working just incredibly hard, but still aren't getting ahead, listen, you are definitely not alone. And the solution? It isn't necessarily just to work harder. It's about completely shifting how we think about our daily habits. Let's jump right in. Before we hit our structured roadmap, we really need to address this genuinely baffling question from our sources. Why in the world do corporate professionals, people who are bringing in thousands of dollars every single month, still live paycheck to paycheck? I mean, we all know someone exactly like this, right? Heck, maybe you even feel this way yourself. It feels totally counterintuitive. Earning more should mean you're wealthy, but higher earners rarely actually feel rich. Why? Because as their income rises, their spending follows right behind it like a shadow. So the harsh reality is that relying on sudden salary leaps, chasing fast money, or hoping for a single massive financial breakthrough, it's a trap, a dangerous one. It just keeps you running on a treadmill. True financial independence absolutely requires a completely different, mathematically guaranteed approach. We have to stop looking for that magic lottery ticket and start taking a really hard look at our daily routines. To get us there, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The trap of fast wealth, 2. The 1% wealth rule, 3. Systems over willpower, 4. The math of compound interest, 5. Small wins create massive empires, and finally, 6. The long game always wins. All right, Section 1. The trap of fast wealth and the invisible ceiling of active income. First up, we absolutely have to shatter this whole illusion of getting rich quick. Average earners are, unfortunately, trapped trading their finite, limited daily hours for cash. And since you only have 24 hours in a day, sheer hard work alone just cannot scale your time. There's a ceiling. The wealthy, on the other hand, they are playing a completely different game. They focus purely on scaling asset ownership, buying things that literally make money while they sleep. They completely decouple their income from their time. Moving on to Section 2. The 1% wealth rule, and how making small daily adjustments changes everything. Now that we understand the active income trap, here is where the absolute magic happens. The core of all of this? Improve your habits by exactly 1% every single day. While most people are out there looking for a single massive breakthrough, the wealthy know that real wealth is built through the compounding of those tiny, repeatable adjustments. These small daily improvements, they just stack up exponentially over time. Let me give you a perfect, concrete example straight from the source material. Utilizing the 48-hour rule. This is just a tiny 1% adjustment. When you feel that sudden urge to make an impulsive, totally non-essential purchase, you simply wait, exactly 48 hours. By the time those 2 days pass, that emotional high entirely fades, logical thinking returns, and honestly, you usually realize you didn't even need the item in the first place. This tiny daily habit literally prevents emotional spending and saves you thousands of dollars over the years. And implementing little rules like that, it leads to a massive mindset shift. These small changes in your daily financial decisions, like reducing minor consumer waste or refining your investment contributions, stack up rapidly over time. You stop acting like a consumer who constantly trades cash for depreciating status symbols, and you start thinking like an owner who builds money machines. The rich buy status last, right? They prioritize solid, income-producing assets first. Okay, Section 3. Systems over human willpower. It is time to automate your money. Knowing you need to improve is great and all, but relying on your brain to remember to do it every single day, that is a recipe for disaster. Strict budgeting often fails simply because human willpower eventually runs out. Motivation is emotional, it's highly unreliable, and it is temporary. But automated background systems, they require absolutely zero daily motivation. They are structural, automatic, and permanent, which means they run flawlessly even on your absolute worst, most exhausted days. So, instead of paying the bills first and just crossing your fingers hoping to save whatever pennies happen to be left over at the end of the month, the wealthy use the pay yourself first system. They literally reverse the flow. They automatically route money directly to their investments and savings before any other spending can even occur. This is exactly how you guarantee that your 1% improvement actually happens. By following these exact mechanical background steps, you remove human error entirely. The very second your paycheck arrives, a set percentage instantly vanishes into savings and investments. Boom. Then your standard bills are auto-paid. And what's left over? That is your guilt-free, entirely spendable cash. You literally never have to test your willpower, and your wealth is just being built silently in the background. Which brings us to Section 4, the math of compound interest, and the power of exponential growth. With your automated system quietly working away in the background, it's time to just step back and let the math do the heavy lifting. Listen, time is your absolute ultimate leverage here. Compound interest constantly outperforms lucky timing or even having massive starting capital. Your initial capital goes to work, earns a return, and then those returns start earning more returns. It creates this vertical, exponential growth over uninterrupted time. It's wild. But here is the catch. This is the exact thing that causes so many people to quit. Building wealth feels deceptively slow at first. Extremely slow. But when you zoom out and think in decades rather than days, you realize that wealth building starts with a hidden delay. Early compounding looks almost totally invisible, but if you have the patience to just stick with it through that flat line, it eventually gains consistent momentum and vertically explodes into massive wealth. All right, Section 5, small wins create massive empires. Let's find that hidden wealth. Now, I know you might be wondering, okay, how do I actually fund these investments initially if my budget is already super tight? Well, you don't need a massive salary bump. It all starts with tiny financial victories. Seriously, you are very likely sitting on hidden cash right now. Take some time to audit your finances and plug the leaks. Cancel those unused subscriptions, downgrade premium packages, and negotiate your insurance rates down. Finding these daily leaks literally transforms wasted money into powerful investable capital. Never, ever underestimate small money. Saving $5 today or investing $10 tomorrow might feel completely pointless in the moment. But celebrating those tiny, repeatable actions is exactly what starts the compounding snowball rolling rapidly down the hill. It just accumulates massive mass and speed with time. Those plug leaks we just talked about, that is exactly what you feed right into your automated investment systems. And here we are at Section 6. The long game always wins. It's all about patience and execution. Reaching this final stage requires serious execution and patience. The sources heavily emphasize that spectacular short intensity, things like hype-driven day trading or trying to time the market for incredibly fast gains. It's exhausting, and it usually leads to total loss. Real financial freedom heavily favors the quiet, boring, daily consistency of delayed gratification. It is totally low stress. You just patiently execute your system every day, save, and invest without stopping. The wealthy do not focus on overnight shifts. They focus on the refinement of their systems. And this quote right here perfectly sums up everything we've covered today. Success is simply the result of compounded daily improvement. They don't panic during market drops, and they definitely don't chase trendy gains. They just focus exclusively on that boring, steady, daily refinement of their automated routines. That is how lasting empires are built. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question. Knowing what we know now, that wealth is really just small daily actions stacked up over decades, what 1% adjustment will you make today to protect your future self? Will you start using the 48-hour rule? Are you going to automate your savings right now? Refine your habits today, take that very first small step, and let the math of compounding do the heavy lifting for your future. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.